Welcome to Friends in Fiction, 5 best-selling authors, endless stories. Friends in Fiction is a Facebook Live program with 5 best-selling novelists whose common love of reading, writing, and independent bookstores bound them together with chats, author interviews, and fascinating insider talk about publishing and writing. These friends discuss the books they've written, the books they're reading now, and the art of storytelling. If you love books and you're curious about the writing world, you're in the right place. Best-selling novelists Mary Kay Andrews, Kristen Harmel, Christy Woodson Harvey, Patty Callahan Henry, and Mary Alice Monroe are 5 longtime friends with more than 80 published books to their credit. At the start of the pandemic, they got together for a virtual happy hour to talk about their books, their favorite bookstores, writing, reading, and publishing in this new uncharted territory. They're still talking, and they've added fascinating discussions with other best-selling novelists. So join them live on their Friends and Fiction Facebook group page every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, or listen and view later at your leisure on their podcast or on their website at www.friendsandfiction.com.
Hi, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to Friends in Fiction, 5 best-selling authors, endless stories. I'm Christy Woodson Harvey, and I'll be your host tonight. And my forthcoming novel is Under the Southern Sky, releasing April 20th.
Hi, I am Patty Callahan Henry, and my next novel is Surviving Savannah, and it comes out on March 9th of 2021.
And hello.
And I'm Mary Kay Andrews, and the newcomer will be out May 4th, 2021.
I'm Mary Alice
I
Monroe.
jumped the gun, Mary Alice. I'm sorry.
You can jump anywhere you want, my
This
darling.
is the hardest part for us. It really is.
I'm alphabetically challenged. I'm Mary Alice. And I'm so glad to say hello to y'all. And I have a book coming out on May 11th called The Summer of Lost and Found. I almost forgot it.
Whatever, some book.
Some book coming out May 11th.
A summer book.
I'm Kristen Harmel, and my next novel, The Forest of Vanishing Stars, comes out July 6th, 2021.
Yay! Well, we are so thrilled to welcome the incredible Robyn Carr tonight. But first, we have a very exciting celebration tonight for the cover of Mary Alice's brand new and very first, middle grade novel, The Islanders. So, Erica, can you share the cover for us?
Isn't it cute? I love it. Of course, turtles. I am so thrilled. They're behind me. Now I can move so you can see it. And that's why I couldn't remember the other title, because I'm thinking The Islanders today. I'm so excited. It is my first middle grade book, and it's written with my friend and colleague, Angela May. And it's the story of an 11-year-old boy, Jake, who is forced to live on a tiny little island, an actual bird sanctuary called Deweese Island off Isle of Palms. And it doesn't have any roads, it doesn't have any cars, it doesn't have any restaurants or stores, and worst of all, it doesn't have any Wi-Fi. So he's convinced this is going to be the worst summer ever. And he meets 2 kids, Macon and a little girl named Lovey, and they would not have been friends anywhere else except on this remote island. And they have all these adventures, and they get into a little trouble, and he bonds with his grandmother, who's a very important character in the book. And in the end, the magic of the island shows them that they can be very wonderfully happy without being plugged in. And so this is a wonderful book to share with children who really do believe in the magic of nature. And I'm very excited because if you order, it's coming out June 15th from Aladdin Books, and we're very excited about that. And we have a pre-order campaign, very excited. For if you order tonight through our bookstore, RJ Julia, I don't have it with me. You're getting one of our Friends and Fiction koozies, which is a real gem. We all love those. But for anyone else during the next several weeks while supplies last, if you order, just say thank you, you will get a really cute custom sea turtle bookmark, autographed book plate sticker, and a special postcard with the cover of the book that will be a gateway to a secret giveaway prize. So you'll get that if you order it. And we hope you will. And I'm very excited. Here's the book. And thank you. Angela and I are just so thrilled. And this is a great age to, what a dream come true. Oh, Angela.
That's nice.
Angela May who's writing. She and I are really close, and this is a very special book for both of us.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for telling us about it. The cover is absolutely beautiful, and I know everyone is jumping on to pre-order right now. So now I'm going to introduce our guest for the week, who really needs no introduction. It's Robyn Carr, who I'm sure many of you know and love and have read. But just in case you don't know her, Robyn is the Rita Award-winning #1 New York Times bestselling author of almost 60 novels, including the critically acclaimed Virgin River series. Robyn is a recipient of the Romance Writers of America Nora Roberts Lifetime Achievement Award in 2016 and 2017. Virgin River was named one of the HarperCollins 200 iconic books of the past 200 years. And as many of you probably know, because you're watching right now, Netflix has adapted her Virgin River series for TV. Robyn has fallen in love with the beautiful Nevada desert and unrivaled spectacle of Las Vegas, where she resides. Her children are grown. Her son is an orthopedic surgeon, her daughter a police captain. And Robyn says that in addition to reading her novels and making snide remarks about how she's used family scenarios to her advantage, they have made her a very happy grandmother. Awesome. So welcome, Robyn.
Robyn.
Hello.
Hi.
We're so happy you're here.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. This is the big time.
I think you were in the big time. You brought the big time here.
Yeah,
exactly,
you brought it with you.
Exactly. Well, and y'all know that every week we love to feature a bookstore. And so this week we have chosen, Robyn has chosen a favorite of hers and many of ours, RJ Julia. Roxanne Cody's bookstore, named for her paternal grandfather and located in the shoreline town of Madison, Connecticut, is a place of discovery where words matter, where writer meets reader, where the ambiance and book selection create a welcoming atmosphere, and where Roxanne and her team are fiercely committed to putting the right book in the right hands. So this week, they're offering 10% off with the code FRIENDS10 on books by our amazing guest, Robyn Carr, and by the 5 Friends in Fiction hosts. And of course, you can pre-order Mary Alice's The Islanders. The link can be found on our Friends in Fiction Facebook page. And I also just wanted to remind everyone that shortly we'll be taking live questions for Robyn. So don't forget to drop your questions in the comment if you have one. So wow, what an amazing week. We get to have Robyn here tonight. The 5 of us were at the Cuyahoga County Library virtually last night. And a lot of us are on deadline. It sort of felt like a race. And I know with Thanksgiving last week, it was a little different for everyone. And, you know, a lot of you know that we started Friends in Fiction to sort of take the place of our book tours. But I really do feel like this group is more important now than it ever has been, because when we need to be alone for our safety, we still have this incredible group of people to share our time with. So I wrote in my newsletter essay this week about the first time I discovered that I could hear my author friends' voices in the pages of their books. It's just the best feeling. And so I wanted to ask all of you, is there an experience you've had after meeting an author, being able to hear their voice in a book? And is there like a specific book or author that you can remember? And so I thought we would start with our lovely guest, Robyn.
There absolutely is a person who I recognize both when I hear her voice and on the page, and that's Kristen Higgins. She talks with more exclamation points than anybody I've ever met in my life. And it's so her every page.
Oh, that's that.
She's hilarious on Twitter. I follow her on Twitter.
Yeah, she's hilarious.
Well, speaking of Kristens, what about you, Kristen?
Christy, honestly, mine is you. Because, you know, I had blurbed one of your books before you and I actually met, and I thought it was amazing and wonderful. But then I met you, and when the next time I read something you had written, it was a completely different experience because I could hear it. Your books are just so accessible and conversational and warm. And I don't think I fully understood until I got to know you a little bit that that's you. Like that's just your voice and it's the beauty of you. And I can hear just that beautiful Southern accent in every one of your books now. So it's 100% you. Your books are some of my very favorites to read because it feels like you're right there with me.
I paid her to say that, so I'll send you your check later, Christy.
Thank you. Christy, we all paid her to say that.
Right. Patty, what about you? Thank you, Kristen.
I actually have, I mean, that's happened with all of you, you know, where I've read your books and then heard your voice and then loved the book even more so. I met Mary Kay Andrews first. We met before my first book even came out, and I read Every Crooked Nanny and then Irish Eyes, and I could hear her wit and her sarcasm and her just Irish, you know, quick-witted, right on the money. But I've had an opposite experience. I was a huge and am a huge Anne Rivers Siddons fan. And when I finally got to meet my hero in person, she had this super really tiny, squeaky voice. She talked like this. And I was so astounded because her books are so full-bodied. And yet her voice was this little tiny voice. And I was like, what? So I actually had the exact opposite experience, except with y'all, where I met someone and then her words didn't match. Yeah.
That's amazing. All right. Well, Mary Alice, what about you?
Well, you know, I was going to say so many, you know, because when you know someone, the voice just pops up. But when I heard about the Nora Roberts Award, I realized that that's a really good example of a woman whose voice comes out in different ways with different books. When she writes her standard women's fiction novels, just her characters, the women are strong. They have a, you know, very determined personality, and that's very much Nora. When she writes a book about a character in Ireland, her love of Ireland comes out. She's softer. There's just a wit there. And yet when she writes the J.D. Robb series, there's that little bit of a kick-ass that Nora has, that take no prisoners. That's very, very there. And she's just a natural writer. She's just, you know, she just lets go and lets the words flow. And when you hear her voice and you know and talk to her, you see those are the different sides of this very unusual, strong woman.
Interesting. So what about you, Mary Kay?
You know, I can remember meeting Lisa Scottolini years ago at a mystery writers event, and we've had the same editor twice at two different houses. And we were at a HarperCollins dinner, and we sat. A very famous, full of himself male author sat between us, and we sort of bonded over our reaction to him. But I can remember saying to her, I read one of her Rosato and D'Annunzio novels, and I can remember saying to her, you know, that was a pretty racy sex scene you had in that book. What's a nice Italian girl like you doing writing a book like that? And she just laughed and said, "Who said I'm nice?" If you know Lisa, that's her.
That's awesome.
Well, that is fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well, and I think we can all agree that we definitely hear Robyn in the pages of her stories. And so we're so excited to have you here tonight. So Robyn, can you tell us a little bit about your newest return to Virgin River?
Well, my readers have been asking me for years to do more Virgin River. There were 20 books in the series.
Wow.
Put it on pause, and there's a reason to stop. It's such a long series that it becomes daunting.
Yeah.
And people don't want to even pick up a single book because, God forbid, they should like it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
Right.
compelled to read more. So it had gotten ungainly and long. But with the Netflix series being so popular, it made sense to do a return to Virgin River and revisit some of the favorite beloved characters that were anchor characters to the series and had been around for a long time. And it was fun to do. So So that's the reason behind it. It brings in new characters with new problems and new emotional dilemmas. So it's not all old folks. It's some new too.
I really liked how you did that. I thought that was an interesting way to, expand something that's so beloved for people, but also, if you haven't read the other 20 books in the series, that you could, pick it up and kind of be starting fresh also. So it's very well done. We all have a question to ask you. And I think Mary Kay, do you want to start?
Yeah. Robyn, one of the things we found interesting after talking to, we've done, 37 of these shows and talking to all different authors from all different walks of life. And a lot of them, ourselves included, have encountered somebody along the way who told us that we weren't good enough and that we weren't going to make it. And I read that you had a similar experience. And I wonder if you'd tell us about that and talk about how you made the decision to persevere despite the naysayers.
Well, did you only have one person to tell you didn't have one? I found one on every corner.
Yeah.
Starting with the high school counselor who said, "You're just not college material."
Wow.
No.
Yeah. No, I had to. Not only did I have people, I had enough rejections to paper the walls, as most people do. And not only that, but I sold my first book in 78, and I had my first bestseller in 2008. Do the math. It took me 30 years.
Overnight sensation?
That's incredible. See, that's so incredible because to me, you're an overnight sensation, right?
Right.
I mean, yeah.
I'm an old sensation.
But that's incredible. You're such a household name, and that's such an inspiration, though, to think
Exactly.
that you just kept plugging away at it for years. That's amazing.
And there were some things I had to make peace with. I
Yeah.
didn't make much money. Every once in a while, I made a little money, but it was my goal to make as much money as my husband's secretary. I mean, I couldn't earn as much as a tenured teacher, and I remember saying to my agent once, if I could just make $100,000 a year, and she said, remarkably, the hardest number to get. There's like no middle class in the writing business. You're either starving or you're doing great,
Yeah.
So I had to make my peace with the bestseller list and say, why am I doing this? Am I doing this to be rich and famous, or am I doing this for a deeper, more intrinsic reason? And the fact is, I write because I love to write. It's work I love, and I'm good at it. And I'm going to do it.
Good for you. That's truly, like Kristen said, very inspiring, because I think people think that authors are automatically rich, which is not true. And all the years that you just wrote because you knew you had to and loved it is really what it's all about. So I'm so glad you said that, Robyn.
It's great job satisfaction. And plus, the wardrobe is very cheap.
And you can stir spaghetti during the middle of the day. You could run downstairs.
Robyn, do you think that made a better writer out of you because you were kind of doing it for the right reasons, not the fame and fortune, and because it was not ever a guarantee? Do you think that made a stronger, better writer?
It does make you a better writer. And the reason I think it does is because you find yourself writing the books you want to read.
Yeah.
Writing the books that are popular this season. I mean, if I tried to write a vampire book because they're selling well, it just would not work. There would be a falseness about it.
Yeah. So true.
Yes.
So true. That's a great point. Well, Patty, do you have a question for Robyn?
I do. Well, I'm still basking in the things you just said, because that's amazing and so true, because every once in a while we have to tap back to the real reason we're doing it. And this pandemic has done that too. Tapping back. Why are we doing it? Why are we doing it? But every week we're so interested in the lives of our writer friends, not just in the books they write. And we love hearing about and with each other about what life was like before we were writers. So we have a question we love to ask every week. So, Robyn, what were the values around reading and writing in your house growing up? And how do you think they influenced the writer you are today?
Well, that's interesting because I did not grow up in a household where books were important.
Wow.
My grandmother used to take me to the public library, and that was fascinating and wonderful. And I would check out books, and sometimes big books,
Yeah.
that I would never in a million years read. But just the idea of having a great big book felt so powerful. But my parents didn't. My father read Louis L'Amour paperbacks, I remember.
Oh my goodness.
But rarely. It wasn't, there wasn't a book on every bedside table.
Yeah.
And I didn't really start reading for pleasure until I was a young wife. I read a few books in high school and college. I remember we passed around Love Story in college.
Yeah.
From room to room to room in the dorm, and then we'd cry and cry and cry and cry. But I didn't really start reading voraciously until I was a young mother,
Wow.
a pregnant mother with fat ankles, and laying back on the sofa with a pillow under my ankles, and reading. And my neighbor used to bring me books from my husband was in the military, so books from the BX, and they were paperbacks, but there was not much of a mass market industry yet, and so they were paperback reprints of classic novels, and so I cut my real teeth on Anya Seton and Rosemary Holly Jarman, and some of the classic historical romance novelists.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Kathleen Woodowitz.
Rosemary Rogers and Kathleen Woodowitz. And the place exploded, and we all of a sudden had a mass market paperback industry.
Yeah.
So I think what's fascinating not only is in your answer that maybe it wasn't your parents. I'm telling you, I bet if we lined up 100 authors, 99 of us would say we spent a lot of time in the library. That libraries were a big part of our formative years, because there's something about a library that it's almost like we absorb the magic of storytelling and know how important it is. So even if it wasn't in your home, you were in that library. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah. True.
That is. It really, really is. That's a great. And I think it's so interesting too that, you would expect that every author would say, oh yes, it was very important, but that hasn't been our experience. I mean, we've had lots of authors come on here and say, we didn't read, my parents didn't, that wasn't a big deal for us. So very interesting. Well, Mary Alice, do you have a question for Robyn?
Well, we're switching to television, as a matter of fact, so it's a segue. I have to say I love the series, the Virgin River series, and I've been watching it with my sister Ruthie, and we were waiting with bated breath for the next season to begin. And as I said to you earlier, after the show tonight, we're going to go downstairs and continue watching it. It's so great. But having read the books as well as watching the show, I'm a big fan, I do notice there's a difference between the storyline in your books and the storyline in the TV series. So I'm curious, as an author, are you involved with the writing of the series? And if you are or are not, how do you feel about the way it veers off?
Well, first of all, I knew that there would be major changes. And when you're reading a book, all you have to do is just stop for a second and think about all that internal dialogue, all that description, all of that narration, all of that stuff. You have no place for any of that in film. So right there's going to be an enormous change. The other thing is when all you have is a set and dialogue and action, you're going to see a lot more action than you will in the novel. But no, I was not involved in the writing. I did have the showrunner and script writers call once in a while and ask for my opinion. and I really tried to stay out of it. And the reason is I don't write movies. I write books. And given an opportunity, I could really screw up a good movie.
That's really interesting. It's true. It is really unusual for an author to get her hands mixed into the script. I think a lot of the directors and writers would rather you just didn't. So it's why.
I think that's right. They'd rather you just didn't. Because really, we don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm filled with opinions, and I have even written screenplays, terrible screenplays.
It's another world.
But I think that it's easy to voice your opinion, and I'm seeing lots of it on Facebook these days. They have very strong opinions about the series. But it may not be good for it. They know what's good for movies. They make movies.
Yeah. And like you said, it's so true that, when I hear someone say, we prefer the book or the movie or whatever, it's often that it's a different medium. You can't go into the detail of a book on a TV series, especially because of the limited time. Right. And I actually, the books are great and the series are great. So you should be very pleased.
It's 2 for the price of 1. If you love the book, you'll probably get a big kick out of the series. And if you love the series, the books will give you a little more.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
Well said. Well said. Kristen, do you have a question you'd like to ask Robyn?
Yeah, Robyn, so you address so many difficult topics in your novels: domestic violence, post-traumatic stress disorder, workplace burnout, miscarriage. The list goes on. So do you have, when you set out to write, do you have a topic like that in mind, or do they kind of appear naturally as the story progresses?
I would like to say that they appear naturally, but they don't. Actually, it's very carefully thought out. In fact, sometimes when my brain is empty, which it usually is, my editor and I will, an agent, will bang around some ideas and say, what haven't we done yet? What woman's issue haven't we approached or handled? And I did have one male friend say to me, who's knocking you around? All the women in your stories are getting beat up. I said, well, I'm sorry. It's a very important issue.
Absolutely.
And no, I'm perfectly safe. But we do it purposely. And then what makes it, if you read a Robyn Carr romance, there will probably be social issues in the book. And if you read a Robyn Carr women's fiction, there will probably be a romance.
Okay. Yeah,
Interesting.
That's really well put.
That's the position of romance and women's issues in all my books.
That's wonderful.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question that I'm really dying to ask you. 2 professors published a paper in the spring 2015 issue of Studies in Popular Culture called Envisioning Utopian Possibilities in Robyn Carr's Virgin River romance novels. So they noted that the series suggests a communal mode of living that contrasts in some important ways with the rampant individualism of 21st century American society, depicting Virgin River as a believable community that prioritizes friendship, sharing of resources, and social solidarity above individual achievement and consumerism, which I just thought was so fantastically said. And you commented in the paper, neighbors are committed to neighbors who automatically come together in times of need. So I'm just wondering, what inspired you to create a community like Virgin River? Is it based on something that you really lived, or just something that you wished for?
Oh, wished.
Okay.
First of all, I'm a city girl, and I think that's not the first time I've been accused of being a socialist, to tell you the truth. So, but it's utopian, and the other thing that I love about Virgin River is it's not cute. It's tough.
It's
It
very
doesn't have any white picket fences, and nobody moves there to bake cookies for a living. It's a hard-nosed place where people get in trouble and can get hurt, and they're very far removed from civilization. So first responders can't get there easily. Now, when I went to Humboldt County on a little research trip, I had already written most of the first book. And it's, of course, it's a fabulously beautiful place where they're growing marijuana back in the woods. And it's breathtaking. And I was with a friend, and we looked at the map and saw that from Highway 5, which runs up the middle of the state of California, to the coast was a highway, 120 miles. And we said, oh, good, we'll dash over to the coast and have lunch. 5 hours later, after we were run off the road by lumber trucks, logging trucks, we finally made it to the coast. It's much more rugged and remote than people realize. So what makes that fun for the writer is it requires something of the characters to live there. And I heard some locals say, if you make it here 3 months, you'll never leave.
Wow.
Oh. Interesting.
That is interesting.
But it's not easy. I mean, there's just, you have bears in your kitchen sometimes. I mean, it's a tough place.
Yeah, which does make it so much fun to watch on the series too. It's so beautiful. And the directors are very good about showing how important the setting is.
Yeah.
I think they did a good job with that, yes.
I agree. Well, thank you so much, Robyn, for answering all of our questions. And now we wanted to let our viewers ask a few questions. So we've pulled some questions from our Facebook page. And if you're watching now, just a reminder that you can leave live questions for Robyn, because we're going to pull a few in just a minute. But I did want to tell you first, we have a reader named Claire Thurison. And she said that her husband passed away in February, but she wanted you to know that you were his favorite author and he had read almost all of your books.
Oh,
so I thought you'd want to know that.
So sorry for your loss.
Yes, we all are. Okay, Mary Kay, would you like to ask a question?
Yeah, Michelle Church says that she finished book 1 in season 1 of Virgin River. And she says, today I'm going to start book 2. How much time has passed from book 1 to book 19?
Oh, they're all written in real time. The first 3 books were published in 2007, and it was 2007 in the books. So look at the copyright page, and you'll see what year those books were set.
Mm-hmm. She said she loves the characters that you've created, by the way.
Thank you.
Mary Alice, would you like to ask a question?
I have one from Donna Michon Rydell. She asks, are there any more Sullivan's Crossing books coming, and would you write another long series like Virgin River?
Yes, there is another Sullivan's Crossing book coming along as soon as I think of one.
That's such a good answer.
It's, I don't have an idea what it will be about, but yes. And another long series, well, I have to say, writing a series as long as Virgin River really turned out to be fun. Yeah. I mean, the hard part is there's already an established, setting and characters. And the easy part is there's already an established setting and characters.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Good answer.
That's so true. That's so true. Patty, can you pull a live question for us, please?
Yes, I can. But Robyn, I have to tell you that answer you just gave about Sullivan's Crossing. Yes, once I know what it's about, sounds like the answer we've all given an editor. And sure, I can do that. And then we hang up. When I think of it.
Yeah, exactly. Or here's a good one for you. My editor said, how's the book coming? And I said, it's coming beautifully in my head.
Yeah.
Right. It's all up here.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. But it just made me laugh because we've all said that exact same thing. So this is really apropos for the time. This question is from Sue Johnson Bishop. Sue, your name is like a tongue twister. She said, Robyn, do you have a favorite Christmas book or movie you must read or see every year? She also said Kristen Higgins is so funny and that we all must go to her Crappy Friends blog. But the question is, do you have a Christmas book or movie you must see or read every year?
Yeah,
Since we're
it's actually, it has become my religion. It's a Wonderful Life. It's what I love, and it's what I believe, that the smallest act can change the course of history.
Oh, I love that.
Right. That's
It's
beautiful.
one of my favorites. Absolutely.
It is one of the very best. Kristen, could you pull a live question for us, please?
Yeah, Margie Clavin Montone would like to know. So she says, as someone who hasn't yet read one of Robyn's books, is there one that Robyn suggests to start with?
Well, I would say Virgin River. If you like that, you'll like them all.
Well, and then let me ask a follow-up question from Lori Finnan Bowers. She says, do we need to read the Virgin River series in order?
It's entirely up to you. I tried to write them so that they would each stand alone, but it is an ongoing series. If you prefer to read them in order, they're listed and numbered in order on my website.
Perfect.
Nice.
Wonderful. Well, Robyn, one of our favorite parts of this show is receiving a writing tip from our guests. Many of our viewers are writers, and of course we are as well. And I feel like we always walk away feeling like we've learned something. So no pressure. Would you mind sharing a little bit of your wisdom with us tonight?
Well, sure. And we've actually already talked about it. I think it's very important, first of all, that you write every day. And you have to be willing to write crap because you can always fix it. But if you don't get anything written at all, you're just getting nowhere. You can't make any progress if you've done nothing. But the other thing is, I think it's really important to examine your motives, decide what success means to you, and write the book you most want to read. I've always maintained that success isn't something that you look back at an entire lifetime to see whether it was there. I think it comes in minutes and seconds. And if you look at it in small doses, you'll find what drives you, right?
Can you remember the first time that you woke up and thought, I'm successful?
No.
Wow.
No. I mean, I've been shocked by a few things. My first time on the bestseller list, I was, I think, at number 32 on the New York Times extended list. And I thought, well, good, there. Now I can die a happy woman. I made the New York Times list. I had no idea what was coming. I had 11 number ones.
It's amazing.
I mean, it was unbelievable.
Do you keep moving the goalposts?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. In fact, I rarely celebrate. It's just, that's not the important part.
I love that.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want success or a certain amount of money or a certain level of fame to be what drives me. That's not what drives me. I need to write a really good book. That's hard enough.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's a really great answer. And that is so true, because I think we're always, you always think that getting that next thing is going to be the moment when you're like, I did it. And then you get it. And that's not the point.
And then you have to show up at the page the next day anyway, no matter what.
Yeah.
That's so true. That's so true.
That blank page did not care that you hit number one.
Yeah.
No. And the only reason I did was because there were no men present.
I don't think that's the only reason.
No, I don't think so either.
I definitely do not. I definitely do not. Well, Robyn, our readers love hearing what our guest authors are reading. So do you have any recommendations of something that you've read lately that you've really enjoyed?
One of your questions was, what was the last book you raved about? A really good friend of mine said that she just found out that her granddaughter is on the spectrum, that she has a probably mild case of Asperger's, a real manageable case. And I said, you need to read The Rosie Project.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That book will you'll have so many laughs and give you such insight into what it's like
Right.
to have Asperger's.
The other one,
That's the last book I raved about, and I read it years ago, and I was so impressed, and I thought it was so fun.
That's awesome. Well, Patty, I think you had a book that you.
I just wanted to interject to go hand in hand with that is The Curious Incident of the Dog at Midnight. That is such a brilliant book to put you into the head of the child who has Asperger's.
I have not read that. Interesting.
They have a Broadway play of it too. It's amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
One day, maybe we'll be able to go.
Maybe we'll go back to Broadway.
Yeah, one day.
Patty, I think you had a book recommendation.
I do, but I wanted to say, Robyn, really quick, it's amazing that when we want to recommend something to somebody about their real life, we recommend fiction.
Yeah.
Because that's where we find the truth, right? It's in a story. It's not, we don't recommend, Anyway, yes, I wanted to tell you all about, and I left it in the kitchen because I'm reading it. I wanted to tell you all about how wonderful and how excited we are. I'm reading Susan Mallory's new Christmas book. And it is, you're reading it too, Christy, right?
Yeah, it's so cute.
I have it there too. Yeah, it's wonderful.
I'll hold it up because I left it in the kitchen where I was reading.
Oh, yeah, because mine's upstairs.
Yeah, we are, Susan's going to be on the show in about a week and a half, but it is such a feel good. You think you're going to read for a minute and all of a sudden you're halfway through the book. It is such a good book. So I wanted to mention that.
I'm sorry. I think it's at my bedside.
See, isn't that funny?
I love it. It's fun when we all read the same thing at the same time. Does anybody else have a book that they wanted to recommend tonight?
I am just getting into The Woman with the Blue Star. This is an advance of our friend Pam Jenoff's upcoming book.
So jealous.
Comes out May 4th.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Busy
day.
Yeah. Pam's a great friend, and she writes amazing historic fiction. And this one, again, is set during World War II. So I can't wait to dig into that.
Yeah.
Anybody else have one? Well, I just finished A Match Made at Christmas by Courtney Walsh. And if you're looking for just like another great feel-good Christmas book, it is so wonderful. I read it just like that. I actually put it in the Facebook group the other day. It's really well written. It's so charming. And the premise is so great. So if you are into Christmas books, you should definitely check it out. Well, thank y'all. Okay, now we do have a few announcements, but we have one more question for Robyn at the end. So make sure that you stick around. And Mary Kay, can you remind us about our bookseller, please?
Yes. This week, RJ Julia is offering 10% with the code FRIENDS10 on books by Robyn Carr and by the 5 of us. And the link can be found on our Friends in Fiction Facebook page. And the store is in a gorgeous little town in Madison, Connecticut. I was there years ago, and it's such a charming place. And so we hope that you guys will all be moved to do what we love to do, which is to do business with, give your business to independent booksellers. They need it.
Yes, you're here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, Kristen, you have some exciting news to share with us, I think.
Yeah, so speaking of independent booksellers, we are thrilled to tell you about Friends in Fiction Firsts, which is a subscription box we're doing in partnership with Oxford Exchange, an indie bookstore in Tampa. So it's a really cool deal. So for $150, which includes shipping and tax, you get all 5 of the Friends in Fiction authors' new 2021 books the week they're released, which will be between March and July of 2021. And every single one of those books will be an autographed first edition. Plus, you'll get a tote bag. Plus, if you're one of the first 200 to order by December 10th, you get this little Christmas ornament.
I love
I don't know
that
if you can see it. It's so cute. Yeah, they
It's-
just came in, and they're nicer than I thought. They say, friends and no, I didn't know what they were going to be like, and I'm like, no, they're actually really nice.
You never know.
I love it, love it, love it.
I breathed a sigh of relief. I was like, oh, they're really okay. I say that as the person who had them made. I had this sense of like, what if they're awful? But they say
I want one so badly.
They say Friends in Fiction 2020, the first year. And Mary Alice, if you want one, all you have to do is order the Friends in Fiction first.
I am on it.
So
but
you get
Robyn,
a tote bag.
you can't get one without it. Robyn gets one no matter what.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So yeah, we're close to selling out of these. We're almost to 200, which is awesome. And overall, it's about a 10% savings on the books. Plus, of course, they're signed first editions. So, and we love Oxford Exchange and we love supporting indies. So there you go.
Perfect.
Yes. All right. And Patty, can you tell everyone about our brand new foray into YouTube?
Yes. So we have been trying to figure out, because we get so many questions on the page, where can I watch the past shows? How can I tap into them? So we now not only have a Facebook page, not only have a podcast, not only have a website, not only have an Instagram, but boom, we have a YouTube channel. Pow! So it is pop. It is Friends, and use the ampersand, Friends and Fiction. And we have been loading all the old shows on there that you can just watch on YouTube. So it'll be there soon. And actually,
I think we're going to be.
We are streaming live there right now.
Oh, we're YouTube stars. We're phenomenal.
Yeah,
We
you guys
are.
just don't know it yet. Yeah.
I mean, we started
Yes.
this morning.
Virgin
We already
River,
have
right?
we already have like tens of followers on
Tens
YouTube.
of
So I don't wanna-
So if you
Mom,
if you go
Your
to
mom
the,
was your mom our first follower? Tell the truth.
I'm sure she was. I'm sure she was. Thanks,
Patty's mom was the second.
and my mom was the second, and you go to the YouTube channel and hit subscribe, and you can watch it there or on Facebook now.
Bonnie and Beth got on the phone
Bonnie
and called
and
all their friends and said, please go follow their YouTube channel.
I think half our members come from Bonnie and Beth.
All right, Mary Alice, I am so excited about next week's show. We've all been so looking forward to it. Can you please tell us who our guests are going to be?
We are. It's very exciting. And it's also serendipity that I'm introducing next week's guest while we're talking about Robyn's experience with bringing books to television. And that's our theme for December 9th. We are so thrilled to have a favorite, the important artist, Andie MacDowell. We love her, and I know most of you love her. Who doesn't love Andie MacDowell? And Andie, when she brought out my book, The Beach House, to television, she was also not just the actress, but a producer. And so it's going to be interesting to hear her take on that. And speaking of a producer, we are also having the renowned producer, Todd Carmanicki. And you may not know his name, but you know one of his movies. It's a favorite at Christmas time, Elf. I know you're all going, what? Yes, really, it's him. So this will be a very, very special expanded program for 75 minutes because we have these two very exciting guests. And so you might want to bring 2 glasses of wine for the show. You do not want to miss it.
Little half bottle. Okay, well, that is going to be so great. We'll all have to go watch The Beach House and watch Elf again in preparation for the show. All right, now, Robyn, thank you for being patient through all of our many, many announcements. But we have one last question for you. Glinda White wants to know if you're going to write any more books in the Thunder Point series.
I don't plan to. I got to the end of, I got to the 9th book, and it looked to me like all of the significant characters in that town were taken care of, and they were all left in a really good place. Now I know you can roll somebody into town in their station wagon and have them break down in front of the bar, and everything can change. But
Wait, that's a really good idea.
yeah,
I might write a book about that.
Wait a minute.
I think that's really reaching. I mean, if I were reading that, I would say she should have thought harder and longer. So my answer is no, I'm not. I don't plan to unless something happens.
You never
know. You might have a dream and all that might change. All right. Well, We cannot thank you enough, Robyn, for being our guest tonight. You were amazing. And I know I speak for all of us when I say we are so glad that we got to know you a little bit better. And you were just a fantastic guest. Please come back.
It was a pleasure. I would love to come back.
Oh, it was so fun meeting you.
Yeah.
Well, I know after the show, I'm watching Virgin River with Ruth.
Yes.
Yes,
Of course,
definitely.
Yeah. Well, this is your last reminder to check out Return to Virgin River. If you want to show the book cover one more time, Erica, if you've got that. But we are just so thrilled that all of you are here making our holiday season bright. And we are so grateful for this community now more than ever. So keep tuning in on Wednesday nights for tons of fun, lots of laughs, and a big dose of holiday cheer. And pre-order the Islanders. That's a wrap. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Robyn. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Robyn.
So great to meet you.
Oh my
what was
God, it was so great.
I have to say,
was
we
so
were
great.
all in a rare mood tonight.
I know, we were all giggling.
What do you think Meg could pop on? Meg, Erica, can you pop Meg on? I think she should be on our after show.
Yeah, that's a good
Oh, yeah.
idea.
She's like, unless she doesn't want to be, she might not be prepared.
She might be
I'll have
hiding.
to give her advance
If
warning.
I
next time.
didn't know that I was going to be on camera, I would have on no makeup.
Hey, Meg.
Hi, Meg.
Meg, that was so much fun.
She was great, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
it was
she's fantastic.
so, her advice was so on the money and so sharp. You know, it's just no holds barred.
Yeah.
So many
Patty,
questions.
Patty, do you want to tell everyone who Meg is?
I was just going to say I was waiting for Mary Alice to finish. So for those of you who hear us talk about Meg all the time, this is Meg Walker. She is our managing director, but she is actually just the guru that keeps us from coming off the rails, which might not have helped tonight, but usually it does. And she is also a really dear friend, but she keeps us together. She's behind the scenes keeping us together. So
Gosh, thank goodness.
Oh,
It's like her and Pat.
It's not really the Fab Five. It's like the Silly Six or something,
Oh.
right?
yeah, but it takes a Jersey girl to
Six. I'm going to go for
five
six.
Southern women.
No, you know
Going
what?
in the right
We'll add
direction.
we'll add Sean in. Sean's usually our behind the scenes guy, and we can be the sexy seven. How about
Yeah.
that?
there you go.
Tonight he's celebrating his 40th birthday
His
tonight, right?
40th birthday, yeah.
Happy
Which I'm a
birthday,
little bit
Sean.
offended.
Happy
Who
birthday,
would not want to
Sean.
celebrate their 40th birthday with us?
I
We
know.
are the party. Come on.
I mean,
But
gosh,
Sean's a rock star, so
He is a rock star.
that's true.
it's legitimately a rock
I
star.
wish more
Really?
than anything that I had thought to bring his music video tonight and share that.
Next
Oh,
week.
next
Okay,
week.
next
When
week,
you
you
hear-
guys. Next
Yeah.
week, we are going to have a
Yep.
birthday celebration for Sean and share his viral video because it's so good.
incredible. Yeah. You guys, your holiday will be made. I'm just saying.
Although I don't know, next week's kind of a big
Next
week.
week's
Maybe
pretty
week
big.
after next.
Yeah,
maybe week
I don't
after
know if
that.
we're going to have
We'll
it.
do it in December though.
What are you guys doing this weekend?
Watching Virgin River, binging.
Yeah,
Virgin
watch-
River.
So we are
Decorating
actually.
Christmas.
What
we
are you
actually
doing,
have
Meg?
our.
Decorating.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, ditto.
Decorating.
I'm trying to remember that it's Christmas season, and I'll try to decorate.
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy Christmas pajamas for everybody. I love to do that. You know, the sillier, the better.
I
Yeah.
like that.
I bought on Thanksgiving for Thanksgiving night. I bought the three of us in our family Mickey Christmas PJs. But I
Of course
neglected
you did.
of course, right? But I neglected to consider the fact that they were flannel, and on Thanksgiving night it was like 80 degrees here, so we were all like sweating before we went to bed. It was
That's so
bad.
cool. How about you, Kathy? What are you doing?
I am going to take my son Andrew texted that he was going to put up a Christmas tree in his house this year. And so he said, you got any spare Christmas decorations? And of course he knew that I have bins and bins and bins full of Christmas crap. So I'm going to load up the sled and take Christmas crap down to him. Then we're going to Tybee for the weekend, but I'll be I'll be back home Monday.
Awesome.
Christy, what are you doing?
We have our flotilla here this weekend, so like our little boat parade, which we are still doing. I think it's much smaller, but I mean everyone's on the water in their own boat, so it's a pretty socially distanced, safe activity.
Yeah.
Our son really wanted to be in the flotilla, but I think it's going to be cold this weekend, so I just really couldn't do it. But so we're going to watch that, and that's
You can
always
just-
really fun. So I'm excited.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
Oh, I do have to say, I'm going up to North Carolina, just where you are, Christy Woodson Harvey. But it's Cindy Boyle's birthday, who's a good friend of mine, and she always has really good wine. So we're going to drink really good wine. Happy birthday, Cindy. I know she's watching.
Patty, and you're going up to the attic to bring down the Christmas?
I'm going to the attic. So it's going to be this grand adventure. And I'm going to turn on the light and climb the stairs and bring down the bins. And
Pat can't do that, right? Because he's had 2 hip replacements.
2 knee replacements. Right. I'm going to say over and over, it's December, Patty. It's December. It is December. Because what is time? What is month? What are days?
Yeah. Exactly. I don't know, but I'm going to listen to Robyn Carr and right in the morning before I load up my car.
Yeah. Every day, ladies. Every day.
I was so inspired by. I had no idea that it had taken her so long to become a best-selling author, and that was such an inspiration. I mean, I think it's a good thing to remember that success is kind of what we make it, and that if your heart's in the right place, the right things kind of come along eventually. I don't know. I was just very moved and inspired to hear that, but also to hear her perspective on it. And that's why I asked that follow-up question. I think it probably did make her a better writer and a stronger writer, and maybe a stronger person too. I mean, I think there's something to be said for having to keep climbing that ladder, you know?
And I'll tell you, after all these years, to find out that one of my favorite editors was that Martha, my very first editor. She was the one I did the Beach House with. Wow. And to know that she had the same editor in all these years, I had no idea. So it goes way back. It does.
Yeah, she was great, and she's very unassuming and very humble. Like for someone who has won so many awards and done so many incredible things, she was very
down to earth.
Yeah.
11 bestsellers.
Well, guess what? We all have to face every day. You know,
right?
Yeah. Could you repeat that, Patty? You froze for a second.
Oh, I hate when I freeze. We all have to face the same blank page every day. She has to face it. We have to face it. You can have as much success as you want, but when you sit down at that computer, you still have that blank page. So
my dog's chewing the tree in the back. I
was wondering what was happening.
That's hilarious.
You know, one of the things I've thought with all the guests we've had on is how you can tell that the people with you can just tell people's hearts in their books, if that makes sense. And she has such a good heart. You can just tell that tonight. And I have the feeling that that's a big part of why her books resonate so much with people. You know, she puts that heart into her stories.
Yeah, and that sense of community is so strong. Yeah.
All right, ladies.
Yeah, this was
awesome. Next week's going to be a blast, everybody. So
thanks, Meg, for popping in.
Sunday for the bonus.
Next Sunday.
Next Sunday.
Next Sunday.
I was like, do we have a bonus on Sunday? Okay. Am I hosting? It's my week.
Next Sunday is Susan Mallory.
Yeah,
that's going to be great.
Yeah. So we'll talk. It'll be Christmas for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's that sudden panic. What did I not do again?
I'm so excited about Andy and Todd. It's going to be
great. Todd is on Wednesday. Yeah.
That terror when you wake up and go, oh my God, I think I double booked myself.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
It's awful. Or, oh my gosh, did I forget last night's whatever? I always just, especially now, because we're not on the road. We're not anywhere. So I'm like,
shape to our days. You know, it's not like, it's
we
just
lose that. We lose that.
Yoga pants and carbs.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to get my carbs right now.
All right, I'm going to go get some cookies or something. I'm hungry.
Hashtag yoga pants and carbs. Okay.
I love it.
I love you all.
That should be our new coffee mug. All right.
I know.
Sleep tight. Bye, everybody. Thanks, Erin.